What is going on, guys? Connor here, and in this video I'm actually gonna switch it up. As you guys know, March Madness is today, and I just want to make this video because I'm always into basketball. I love March Madness, and I'm just gonna be switching up. I will be picking my bracket live right now, so stay tuned and enjoy the video. So let's get into it. For the first matchup in the West region, we got Gonzaga versus Georgia State. I honestly think Gonzaga is one of the most hyped up teams, and they deserve to be seeded at one seed because of how good they are and how talented their team is. So I don't think Georgia State has a chance. I think Chet's gonna have a big game, and Gonzaga will move on to the second round, and Georgia State will lose. The next matchup we got is Boise State versus Memphis. I like to hit this I on the right because that tells you all the stats. And personally, I think as I'm looking, I feel like Memphis is the better team. Since Memphis got Penny Hardaway as he came back to his alma mater, I feel like the Memphis Tigers will win this because Penny Hardaway is going to get them riled up and they're going to win against Boise State. So I got Memphis over Boise State. The next matchup we got is Uconn versus New Mexico State. I feel that Uconn will win this game because I don't know much about New Mexico State, but if you check this eye icon, it tells you that they're pretty even, I guess, in defensive efficiency. But Uconn, I feel, is better. You can see the net ranking. It tells you 16 is Uconn, New Mexico State is 79. So I feel Uconn will win this game. They've been playing really well lately, so I'm going to pick Uconn over New Mexico State. The next game we have is Arkansas versus Vermont. Vermont's a pretty scary team. They actually have been to the tournament this past year and last year, and they did pretty good, but they lost in the first round, and I feel they will lose again because Arkansas is a much more mature team, and they have developed a better offense as of late. So I'm going to pick Arkansas to beat Vermont and advance to the second round. Next we have Alabama versus Rutgers or Notre Dame. So honestly, I feel that I have an upset. I'm going to go Rutgers or Notre Dame because Bama as of late has not been playing up to their potential, and they've just been losing to some really weird teams. They have beat some teams, but they lost really bad to some crappy teams. So I'm picking Rutgers or Notre Dame to upset Alabama and send the Tide home. The next matchup we have is Texas Tech versus Montana State. I honestly feel that Texas Tech is going to win this game. I just don't see Montana State as enough willpower and firepower to keep up with Texas Tech, so I think Texas Tech should roll into the next round to face Rutgers or Notre Dame. The next matchup we have is Michigan State versus Davidson. These 7 and 10 seeds are always debatable. It could go either way, but I'm going to pick in this one, even though Davidson lost in the championship to Richmond, I still don't believe they're going to beat Michigan State. I think Michigan State's been to the tournament a while. They have more experience, and they have a really good offense. I'm picking Michigan State to beat Davidson in this matchup. Next, we have Duke versus Cal State Fullerton. I don't know much about Cal State Fullerton, but I feel since Coach K it's his last matchup and it's his last tournament, I feel that Duke's going to be ready to roll, and they'll be out and win easily against Cal State Fullerton. The first game in the East region, we have Baylor versus Norfolk State. I honestly feel Baylor is a really strong team this year, but I don't think they have a lot of hype, and I don't feel like they'll match up to it, and so I'm picking Baylor this round. I just think Norfolk State does not really have a chance because of their conference, and I just feel Baylor's a more powerful team, so I'm picking Baylor to advance to the second round. Okay, we have an 8 versus 9 seed. These are always toss-up games, go either way. I'm going to look at the stats to see who's actually better, but I'm going to pick, even though North Carolina lost to Wisconsin last year and got rolled, they didn't really lose, they got rolled bad. I'm picking North Carolina to redeem themselves and get revenge and win the first round game and face Baylor in the second round. The next matchup we have is St. Mary's versus Wyoming or Indiana. I feel since St. Mary's has been really they're a really developed team. They've made the tournament these past years. They're more experienced than Wyoming or Indiana, I feel like. And just their veteran presence on the court makes them the team to beat. So I'm picking them to advance to the second round to play either UCLA or Akron. So the next matchup we have is UCLA versus Akron. I'm going to pick UCLA. They've been on a roll lately. Their point guards can shoot the ball. They're really fast, physical, but not too physical. They're a really good team. I'm picking UCLA to roll against Akron. Next, we have Texas versus Virginia Tech. This one, I'm actually going to pick Virginia Tech because, as you can see, their defense is better than Texas, and Texas has been disappointing. They're always on and off, and I feel like since last year, they didn't win in the first round, and I think the same thing's going to happen, so I'm going to pick Virginia Tech over Texas in this matchup. The next matchup we have is Purdue versus Yale. So this one, I don't know much about Yale, but I know they won the Patriot League, but I just feel they're going to match not as well to Purdue because Purdue's defense is on a roll this year. They've been really good these past few weeks and throughout the entire season, so I'm picking Purdue to beat Yale. Next, we have Murray State versus San Francisco. I don't know much about San Francisco, but Murray State, I watched them play last weekend, and they looked really good. I feel they're really strong, good team. They have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball. They have one of the best players in the nation. He's going to be in the NBA draft in the coming years or next year. So I'm picking Murray State to roll over San Francisco. Next, we have University of Kentucky versus St. Peter's. I feel that Kentucky's going to roll St. Peter's. St. Peter's I don't know much about, but Kentucky's just a much more dynamic and dominant team, so I'm picking Kentucky to roll over St. Peter's and make it in the second round versus Murray State. In the Midwest region, in the South region, we have Arizona versus Wright or Bryant. So in this one, I'm picking Arizona. They have too much firepower. I just don't see Wright or Bryant going and making it even close to Arizona, so I'm picking Arizona to advance to the second round in the South region. Sedan Hall versus TCU. I'm gonna hit this eye icon because it tells you like all the close games. So if it's an 8 or 9 seed, you can look here and it tells you the best, like tells you all the stats of this team. As you can see, Seton Hall's a better 3-point team. but their defense isn't as good as TCU. And I think this is TCU's first year in the tournament, so I feel like they're going to have that firepower. Even though Seton Hall's been to the tournament for a while, I feel the defense in TCU is going to prevail, and they're going to beat Seton Hall and send the Pirates packing and going home. Next, we have Houston versus UAB. I don't know much about UAB. This could be a toss-up, but I just feel Houston's a more dominant team. They have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball. They're good on defense, good on offense. I have Houston winning in this game. I just don't know much about UAB, so I'm picking Houston in this game. Next, we have Illinois versus Chattanooga. Illinois, for me, is one of my sleeper picks. They've been really good this whole year. They're underrated. I feel they have a good chance to advance to the Sweet 16, so I'm going to choose Illinois. I just don't know about Chattanooga, and the fact that Illinois has been on a roll lately, I just don't think they can stop Illinois, so I'm picking Illinois in this game. Next, we have Colorado State versus Michigan. So this is another game. Colorado State has two really good players that are going to be in the draft in the coming years. But I just feel Michigan's experience, and if they get the offense running, I'm going to pick Michigan to upset Colorado State because of Michigan's experience in the tournament and their overall knowledge. So I'm picking Michigan to beat Colorado State. Next, we have Tennessee versus Longwood. So for this one, I'm going to choose Tennessee. I don't know much about Longwood. I just know this is their first year in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So I'm picking Tennessee. I just think they're another sleeper pick. They're a really good defense. They won the SEC against Duke. They're a really good team. I got Tennessee playing Michigan in the second round. Next, we have Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago. I remember I picked Ohio State last year and they lost to Oral Roberts, and I feel like this is another one where they will lose this game. And so I'm not going to pick Ohio State like I did last year. I'm going to pick Loyola Chicago to beat Ohio State and advance to the second round. Next, I have Villanova versus Delaware. I don't know much about Delaware, but I think Villanova's going to roll this game. Their power forwards are really good. I just don't feel Delaware can stop them. They have a lot of guys that can shoot the ball and play good defense. So I got Villanova beating Delaware and cruising into the second round with Loyola Chicago. In the first game of the Midwest region, we have Kansas versus Texas Southern or Texas A&M CC. And I feel Kansas will roll against one of these teams. I just don't feel like they're a competitor to Kansas. I think Kansas is more dominant, more firepower, more will to win, and they're just overall better team. So I got Kansas beating Texas Southern or Texas A&M CC and advancing into the second round. Next, we have San Diego State and Creighton, another 8-9 matchup. It's a really toss-up, really. These could go either way. But I'm going to look at the eye and see like what the stats are telling me. So it looks like Creighton is a better free throw percentage. Defensive efficiency is better. So I'm going to go with the defensive Creighton to beat San Diego State and put the Blue Jays into the second round with Kansas. Next, we have Iowa and Richmond. I don't know much about Richmond. I just know that they won their conference. So I'm going to pick Iowa because I feel they're the more dominant team. I just don't know if Richmond can stop Iowa's three-point shooters, so I'm picking Iowa to beat Richmond and advance to the second round. Next, we have Providence versus San Diego State. This one's really interesting. San Diego State is not a pushover. They're a really good team. They're 30-2. And look at that. They have better defense than Providence. They have, even though they're ranked lower, their defense is good. They have better free throw percentage. But I just feel Providence will win this game. I watched a bracketology Sunday, and they interviewed the coach of Providence, and he was saying that they have a very great bond with each other. They went over to the coach's house all summer. They've trained together, and I feel like the teamwork and the care for their teammates will push them into the second round versus Iowa. So I got Providence beating South Dakota State. Next, we have LSU versus Iowa State. This one is interesting. Another 11-6 matchup. Could go either way, but I got LSU winning this one, even though Iowa State's a better defensive team. I feel like they're not going to be as good against LSU. I feel like Sharif O'Neal is going to go off against Iowa State. So I got LSU beating Iowa State and advancing to the second round. Next, we have Colgate versus Wisconsin. I don't know much about Colgate, but I feel Wisconsin's going to win this game. I just don't know if Colgate can match Wisconsin's three-point shooting, so I got Wisconsin beating Colgate and advancing to the second round versus LSU. Next, the next matchup we have is USC versus Miami. Another 7-10 matchup. Could go either way. Always a toss-up normally. I'm going to look at the stats. Miami is a better defensive team. They shoot better than USC, but I just feel right now USC's been playing really good basketball. They did really good in the tournament. I feel like they're going to beat Miami and have the Trojans going on to the next round. Next, we have Auburn versus Jacksonville State. So for this one, I don't know much about Jacksonville State. I feel Auburn's too powerful, way more explosive. They know how to defend well. Their offense is also good. I got Auburn easily making it into the second round. In the second round of the West region, first matchup we have is Gonzaga versus Memphis. So for this one, I'm going to pick Gonzaga. I feel like Chet and the three-point shooters of Gonzaga is going to prevail against Memphis. So I got Gonzaga moving on to the Sweet 16. Next, we have Uconn versus Arkansas. So this one could be interesting. A 5 and a 4 seed normally is going to be a really close game, but I don't know much about Uconn. I just don't think they're capable of making it onto the Sweet 16. So I got Arkansas beating Uconn because Arkansas has been playing really good lately. Good defense. I got Arkansas facing Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. Next, we have Rutgers or Notre Dame versus Texas Tech. I got Texas Tech in this one because they're always normally really good in the tournament. Really good defense. They know exactly how to play basketball when it comes to the tournament. They have more experience than either of these teams, so I got Texas Tech moving on to the next round. Next, we have Duke versus Michigan State. This game has always been this matchup and rivalry has always been a really close games, but I feel Duke will win this game because Coach K is going to have them going up against a rival. You want to play good. So I got Duke beating Michigan State and advancing to the Sweet 16. Next we have is Baylor versus UNC. I feel Baylor's going to win this game because UNC just hasn't really shown me that they can beat a really good team. So I got Baylor beating UNC. Next we have is St. Mary's versus UCLA. This one's interesting because St. Mary's beat Gonzaga earlier in the season, but UCLA is just on another level. Really good shooters, fast-paced offense, can defend really well. I got UCLA beating St. Mary's and advancing to the Sweet 16. Next we have is Virginia Tech versus Purdue. This one could be interesting because Virginia Tech won the ACC tournament, but Purdue is just, I feel their defense has really stepped up this whole season. I got Purdue beating Virginia Tech and advancing to the Sweet 16. Next we have is University of Kentucky and Murray State. This game is going to be really interesting. Murray State's a really good team. They are a sleeper. They are just really underrated. They're 30-2, really great team. They just haven't played. I guess you could say their conference isn't as strong, but they beat some really good teams. But I feel Kentucky is the better team. They should be able to win this, but it could be a toss-up if you want to think about it. But I got Kentucky moving on real close, but I got Kentucky to play Purdue in the Sweet 16. Next, in the South region, we got Arizona. In the South region, we got in the second round, Arizona versus TCU. In this one, I'm picking Arizona. I just don't think TCU can stop a really high-powered offense like Arizona. So I got Arizona cruising into the Sweet 16. Next, we got Houston versus Illinois. As I've said it, Illinois has been a sleeper. Really good defense. They can pass the ball well, shoot the ball well. They've made a run the later half of the season. So I got Illinois beating Houston and advancing to play Arizona in the Sweet 16. The next matchup we have is Michigan versus Tennessee. Michigan, I think, will put up a fight, but Tennessee's defense, they've proven to me that they are a top team and can make a run in this tournament because of that they won the SEC tournament and their defense is playing really good as of late. So I got Tennessee beating Michigan and advancing to the Sweet 16. Next, we have Loyola Chicago versus Villanova. This one, I'm picking Villanova. I just don't feel like Loyola Chicago is going to keep up with the high-powered Villanova Wildcats offense. So I got Villanova beating Loyola Chicago and sending the Ramblers home. The next team we have in the Midwest region is Kansas versus Creighton. This one's interesting because Creighton has been a really good team as of late, but I just don't think they're going to be able to beat Kansas. So I got Kansas beating Creighton and having Kansas advance to the Sweet 16. Next we have is Iowa versus Providence. As I've said, Providence is a sleeper. Really great team. When I watched that bracketology segment where they had the coach of Providence on, they just look like a really gelled team. I feel like teamwork and their grit will get them past Iowa, so I got Providence over Iowa in a real close game. Next we have is LSU versus Wisconsin. This one's real close. I feel LSU is going to put up a fight, but Wisconsin, too high-powered in their three-point shooting. So I got Wisconsin beating LSU and advancing to the Sweet 16. Next, we have Auburn versus USC. In this one, I want to pick USC, but I just don't feel like they are good enough to stick with Auburn. So I'm going to pick Auburn over USC and having Wisconsin and Auburn play in the Sweet 16. In the Sweet 16, we have, in the West region, first matchup, Gonzaga versus Arkansas. This one's close because Arkansas is a good team. I just don't think they can catch up with Gonzaga's offense. And I feel like Gonzaga's going to be shooting real well this whole game. So I got Gonzaga over Arkansas and having the Zags cruise to the Elite Eight. Next we have Duke. Next we have Texas Tech versus Duke. This one real close. I'm actually going to pick Texas Tech in this one because I just don't think Duke is a good enough team to beat Texas Tech. And I have Texas Tech going to the Elite Eight and playing Gonzaga in the matchup. Next we have Baylor versus UCLA. I'm actually going to pull an upset. I'm picking UCLA to beat Baylor. Baylor just hasn't shown that they are real sustainable. They always seem to lose to some crappy team, and it's just disappointing, I guess you could say. So I'm picking UCLA to beat Baylor. I feel UCLA's been on a roll this whole year. They can shoot the ball well, defend well, so I got UCLA upsetting Baylor and sending the Bears home. I got next matchup we have is Purdue versus Kentucky. This one's going to be close also. Purdue's defense is one of the best in the country, but Kentucky is the better team. They should win this game because of their defense and offense. I got Kentucky cruising to the Elite Eight versus UCLA. Next, we have Arizona versus Illinois. This one's always tight. I told you Illinois is a sleeper. I want to pick them, but Arizona's been on a roll. They won the Pac-12 championship. They haven't looked back, it feels like. So I'm picking Arizona to beat Illinois in a close game. Next, we have Tennessee versus Villanova. This one's going to be a real close game. As I've said, Tennessee is a sleeper of mine. Really good defense. They proved themselves these last past weeks. So I'm picking Tennessee to upset Villanova and send the Wildcats home. Next, we have Providence. Next, we have in the Midwest region, Kansas versus Providence. I'm picking Kansas to lose this game. Actually, I'm picking Providence to win this game. They've done a real good job as of late. I feel like the teamwork that the coach said they were doing, and they just look like a real complete team. So I'm picking Providence to upset Kansas in the Sweet 16 and send the Jayhawks home. Next, I have Wisconsin versus Auburn. So in this one, I want to pick Wisconsin, but I just don't think they compete with Auburn. So I'm going Auburn to beat the Badgers and send Wisconsin home because of the fact that Auburn's been shooting the ball real well, playing good defense. I got Auburn beating Wisconsin and having Auburn advance to the Elite Eight. Next, we have in the Elite Eight West region, we have Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. This one's going to be a close game, I feel like. Texas Tech's one of those teams that never quits, never gives up. I got Gonzaga winning in a close game because Texas Tech's been good on defense all year. So I got Gonzaga advancing to the Final Four. The next matchup we have in the East is UCLA versus Kentucky. This one's going to be a really crazy game. That'd be awesome if it happened. I want to pick UCLA, but Kentucky's just shown that they are one of the best teams in the nation and haven't looked back. UCLA's on a roll, but at the end, Kentucky pulls out a late game-winning shot to beat the Bruins and send UCLA home. So I got Kentucky beating UCLA and advancing to the Final Four to play Gonzaga. In the South region, we got Arizona versus Tennessee. It's hard to choose because this game is going to be a real close game. Tennessee's defense is real good. They proved themselves because they won the SEC championship. They've been on a roll, but Arizona's just looked real good this whole year. I got Arizona beating Tennessee and sending the Volunteers home. Next, we have Providence versus Auburn. In this one, I want to pick Providence, but I think Providence can stay with Auburn. Auburn's looked real good all year. So I got Auburn beating Providence to have the Friars go home and Auburn advancing to the Final Four. Final Four, we got Gonzaga versus Kentucky. This one's going to be probably one of the best games of the year. Gonzaga's a real good team. They have Chet Holmgren, a lot of other players that are really good shooters. Kentucky also has a really good defense, can shoot the ball. But I got Gonzaga advancing in a real close game to the championship game. The other Final Four matchup we have is Arizona versus Auburn. I feel like Auburn could keep this game close, but Arizona's just looked real good this year. They have not looked back at all. I got Arizona beating Auburn pretty steadily and sending the Tigers home. Championship, we have Gonzaga versus Arizona. This one is going to be a real close game, probably the best one of the year if it happens. I want to pick Arizona, but Gonzaga's just looked too unstoppable this year, it feels like. With Chet Holmgren, they can shoot the ball, they can defend well, they can get to the rim well. I got Gonzaga beating Arizona in a tight game. And for the score prediction, I'm going to go 96-94 Gonzaga Bulldogs to be the 2022 NCAA men's basketball tournament champions and finish the #1 seed in the nation. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Just wanted to switch it up since it's March Madness. wanted to show you guys who I picked for March Madness. Comment down below if you guys want to see me create a sports channel where I just talk about sports. Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn notifications on because I release a new video every single Friday and you don't want to miss it. I will see you guys in the next video. Gains out!